Good evening to one and all present here. My name is Muktika Koble and I am from Dr. Panjabrao Deshmukh College of Law. The topic of my today's presentation is labor. So now let us get acquainted with the index. Our today's topic will be divided into four parts. Firstly, we'll learn what is the definition of labor. Secondly, we'll see the various features of this labor. Then we'll move on towards what do we really mean by division of labor, and lastly we'll cover the types of division of labor. So let us start with the first part of our presentation, that is definition of labor. This definition is given by S.E. Thomas. He says that labor consists of all human efforts of body or mind which are undertaken in expectation of reward. So basically, for our explanation, we'll divide this definition in two different parts. Firstly, S.E. Thomas says that labor consists of human efforts, and these efforts can be of two types. They can be physical or mental. So let me give you an example so that you can easily understand easily differentiate between physical and mental efforts. So physical efforts or physical labor, an example of this would be a worker working on construction site. This is an example of a physical labor. And a teacher or a lecturer teaching students is an example of mental labor. So, S.E. Thomas this is one part of the definition, but S.E. Thomas further says that human take these or take these human take this mental or physical efforts in expectation of some reward. They expect something in return of whatever labor or whatever efforts they take. So this is basically what S.C. Thomas wants to say in this definition of labor. So next, we'll move on towards features of labor. So there are basically 6 main features of labor. First, the labor is considered as perishable in nature. For example, if a worker does not work for a day, the labor of that day is wasted. Therefore, labor is considered as perishable in nature. But on the other hand, capital or land are not considered as perishable in nature. Secondly, labor has weaker bargaining power. As we have seen in the first feature itself, that labor is perishable in nature, and in addition to that, the economic power of the laborer is generally weaker than that of the employer. Therefore, whatever fixed wage the employer provides, the worker has to accept he cannot bargain in that, as he has a weaker economic power, because the laborer only has two options: either he accepts the wages offered to him or remain unemployed. Therefore, it is always considered that a labor has a weaker bargaining power. Then thirdly, the labor is considered as an active factor of production. The capital and land are considered as passive factors of production, but labor is an active factor of production without whom the capital and the land cannot yield anything. So, um, without labor, it is impossible for capital or the land to earn anything. Therefore, labor is considered as an active factor of production. Moving on towards our next feature. It is impossible to separate labor from laborer. For example, we can separate a capital from a capitalist. We can separate a land from landlord. But in the case of labor, we cannot separate a labor from a laborer. Labor and laborer are inseparable. Then, moving on towards next point, the labor sells his labor but not himself. A worker who does the labor sells sells his labor. He does not sell himself. A worker does not sell himself, but he sells his labor. In the ancient times, there were in ancient times it was the labor or the worker used to sell himself. But in today's time, this is not prevalent. Then, lastly, labor consists mobility. It is said that labor is mobile in nature because labor can move from one place to another and can also change one occupation and try another occupation. It can also move from one occupation to another. Therefore, this nature of labor is considered as mobile. Therefore, it is stated that labor consists mobility. Now, moving on towards what do you mean by division of labor? So, in this given definition, it is stated that division of labor may be defined as the splitting up of the work of production into processes and sub-processes to be allotted to the workers based on their ability, capacity, and training. So, this term division of labor itself states that in this process the labors are divided. But how? On what basis? So generally these labors are divided based on their ability, capacity, and training. As we all know that for a production of commodity there are various processes and various workers are allotted different processes. Various group of workers are provided different processes according to their ability, capacity, and training. So this definition basically states that labor are divided into different groups according to their ability, capacity, and training to carry out different processes and sub-processes in the production of the commodity. Now, so the division of labor can be divided into three types. Firstly, simple division of labor. Second, complex division of labor. Third, territorial or geographical division of labor. First, we'll see simple division of labor. When in a society, people are divided into different occupation and that particular group of people only concentrates on that particular occupation, then it is considered as a simple division of labor. For example, lawyer, doctors, teachers, these are some of the examples of simple division of labor. Moving on towards complex division of labor. As we all know, for the production of a commodity, it has to go through various processes and sub-processes. And the group of workers are allotted to the particular process or sub-process according to their ability, capacity. So, this type of division of labor is called as complex division of labor. Let me give you an example. For example, for the production of a cloth, it has to go through various processes like spinning, weaving, and finishing, and many other processes. So this is an example of complex division of labor. Then moving on towards our last division of labor, that is territorial or geographical division of labor. The title itself tells us a lot about the division of this type of division of labor. As we all know, different parts of our country are famous for the production of a particular commodity. For example, Kashmir is famous for its apples. Assam is famous for its tea. So these states or these particular parts are famous for its particular commodity. So this division of labor, if we have to tell in simple terms, the labor is divided according to the territory or geographical territory or geographical division. So this is basically territorial or geographical division of labor. So I guess we have covered almost everything about labor and division of labor. Thank you so much.